A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and this is another in our Runner Stories podcast, and this is post London Marathon. So Lucy's joining us today. She ran for Scoliosis Support and Research, and she's in one piece, which is great. So Lucy, welcome. Tell us your story and why you decided to run for the charity.
Hi, thank you for having me. I have scoliosis. I was diagnosed at 14 and I had my first surgery at 16. I had a second surgery at 20. I'm now 31 and my dad ran the London Marathon for the sort of previous version of the charity before they kind of changed into what they are now in 2012. And it was before I'd had my second surgery and I was like completely incapable of doing any sort of sport or certainly not running at the time. And I went and watched him and I saw lots of other people running who had scoliosis and who'd had surgery. And I was just like completely in awe of them. And I just thought there's no way that could ever be me. And a couple of years post my second surgery, I started running like little bits and I did a half marathon with my dad a couple of years ago. And it was last year I was like, oh, just put my name in the ballot, just in case, you go and watch it and you see your friends running, you're like, oh, just seems amazing. And I got a place and I was like, okay, the universe is telling me it's happening. And so I was like, of course I have to do it for scoliosis. It was just the only thought I could have about it. And yeah, so it's just been amazing. And like actually going through the training and getting to the point where I could conceive about running a marathon in my own situation. I still have one rod in my spine and I still get quite a lot of pain around it. Thankfully, actually running is often, it's okay, or it's been okay enough to do the marathon at least. But yeah, I've met so many incredible people over the years, obviously, who also have scoliosis and are part of families where they're supporting people who have scoliosis, and a lot of people who can run marathons and seem to be perfectly able, and a lot of people who absolutely can't. But yeah, so that's kind of the story of how I got to this point, and it's been amazing and so special to wear the t-shirt on the day and raise money for this charity and cross the finish line.
You're one of a very rare breed, obviously, someone that actually gets an entry through the ballot. So that's fantastic for the charity because obviously they don't, there's no cost to your entry, which is fantastic. So the money you raised, it just makes such a difference. What was the training like then? What were the highs and lows, and when did you start?
I started properly in January, basically like the beginning of the year. Okay, we're on. I did a little bit before Christmas just so I wasn't coming from nothing. Because although I ran a half marathon a few years ago, I haven't really been running regularly since then. And I was following a very classic training plan. It's almost exactly the same as the kind of London Marathon beginner marathon training plan. And I just tried to be really strict with myself just to stick to the training plan and not really think about timings or pace or whatever, just do it. So at least I know on the day, and in theory I can get around because I've done the training. In general, it was all right. The highs were any run I did with other people. I tried to do like a couple of runs with some local run clubs, with friends, any way I could. Even on the long runs, if I did half of it with a friend, or I did a couple of runs with my dad, which were really special. Like he's been probably my best like personal running coach since I really started running at the beginning of lockdown, really. And lows were the last long run was just so tough. And that was, I mean, it's the hardest one, and it's the longest that you're going to do before you actually do the race. And you're like, okay, this is giving you an idea of what it's going to be like on the day, which is hard. But the whole process was really enjoyable. So that's the main thing, right? You've got to enjoy the training, or else you're not going to do it.
It's a long period of time, and those long runs are very challenging. What was the furthest distance you got up to?
I think it was 33. I was aiming to do 35, and I was like looking at the map on my phone going, there's a Tesco. I'm just going to run to the Tesco and I need to eat a massive something right now. It was just really tough. But I know a lot of people say 33 or 32 is kind of the longest that they do before anyway. So it's like, okay, that'll do.
Just for any newcomers that are listening to this, that is 33k, of course, not 33 miles. Just in case you had any heart palpitations there along the way. Yeah, so that's sort of the normal, 18 to 20 mile situation. And yeah, like you said, once you've done that, you know that the next stage is the big race. What was the taper period like for you? Because that's obviously quite difficult, isn't it? It's very strange sensation.
Yeah, I actually found it really, really tough. I had a couple of days where I got really ill, and it was only like a 24-hour thing. And I don't know if it was like kind of psychosomatic or what, but that was really tough. Feeling rubbish. I'd sort of have a plan to do a shorter run and wouldn't be able to do it because I was feeling awful. And then you're stressing that you're going to feel awful on the day and it's getting closer. And I spoke to a few people in that taper time that were like, "Oh, you might be feeling a bit down, you're coming away from doing all of this really strict training, you're eating all of these carbs and la la la." And I was like, okay, that makes me feel better because I am feeling quite down actually. So it was tough mentally and it was tough physically and it wasn't the best time, but at least you're so close to that point and you're like, okay, in a week's time, it's going to be done and then you'll be on the top of the world.
Talk us through the whole expo experience, because it's when you walk in that door, it really brings it home to you, doesn't it? The scale of the whole operation.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I mean, even from the front of the door, I mean, I think there's a few entrances to the XL, but whatever, from the entrance I went in, it was like a 5-minute walk just to get to the entrance of the London Marathon bit. And then you queue up and you get your bib, and then you go in to the actual expo, and it's just huge. And there's so many trainers and t-shirts and socks and things trying to be sold to you. And I just walked around and tried to soak it all in and looked at all of the different charities and all of the different stuff that was there, and the wall with try and find your name on the wall. But it's quite overwhelming, and seeing all these different people, and some people who look like professional runners and some people who you're like, are you running it or are you here with someone else who's running it? And yeah, it's quite an overwhelming thing. And I went after work on the Wednesday because thankfully I'm in London, so it was not too hard to get to. But even then, on the first day where it's supposed to be quieter, was super busy. And yeah, you're like, how how am I running a marathon in 4 days? It all gets a bit real.
Yeah, of course, you had such a big field this year, record field, of course, of 56,000 runners. I think the last time I ran it, there were probably 40,000. So, you've got to put 16,000 more people through the expo over 4 days. It is going to be a lot busier. And I suspect it was quite busy out on the course, but we'll come to that in a second. So what was it like when you woke up on race morning? How did you feel?
I was super excited, super nervous. Obviously I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a classic situation. You can't actually sleep as much as you like want to. And I was in my kit and putting my Vaseline on and glitter and all the rest of it, and sort of sat like, oh, can I go now? Shall I go now? But my parents had come and they were stayed with me the night before as well, actually, which was quite nice. Like I said, my dad's done marathons and stuff, so he's been very good at sort of walking me through what I had to do and keeping me calm. And it was nice to feel a bit more prepared because I could kind of give them all the things that they needed to have for the end, and I could just go off and get on the bus and
Yeah.
get to the start.
And what was it like at the start?
Yeah, there was a lot. Well, I got a bit panicked at the bus because the bus I was trying to get didn't turn up, and then I kind of got on another one that I could see marathon runners on the bus. I was like, okay, this must go to the right place. But it sort of dropped me like a 20-minute walk from my start. And so I was walking to the start, and it's so crazy, there's so many people around, so it's not really any other way to get there. So I walked to the start, and obviously it was really hot, so I was hydrating like mad, and I really needed a wee, and I was like, oh, I just need to get to the start now and go to the toilet. And I finally got to my pen, and the queues for the loo were unreal, which was scary. And thankfully we kind of realized there were some other toilets across on the other side, but there's just so many people everywhere, and everyone's kind of just like sat around in this holding pen like farm animals waiting. But once I got to the loo, then I was much calmer, and you start to have a chat to a couple of people, and everyone's in the same boat, and feeling nervous and excited and all the rest of it. And they had water and whatever. And it was sort of fine. But actually, planning for that start point, I was like, oh, it's quite a long time waiting. And then like, what time do you want to leave? And I left probably half an hour earlier than I thought I might need to, but definitely worth it because everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. And actually, it was only really sat waiting for about 15, 20 minutes. And obviously, you're doing stretching and warming up and stuff anyway. So it wasn't a lot of time, like actually just kind of waiting as you think it's going to be.
It's really important, the whole making sure you get there in plenty of time, because like you said, you wouldn't have factored in a 20-minute walk to the start, would you?
No, or a potentially 10-minute wait for the toilet or whatever. Everything just takes that little bit longer. And, you'd rather be there early and have more time to just warm up than be stressing. Obviously, you can always go in the later wave. But especially we were there going, it's just getting warmer and warmer. We just want to get going. I don't want to be out in the sun any longer than I have to be.
So talk us through the race then. It was obviously a very memorable one for a number of reasons, including the extra bit of heat this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was also lovely. Like, it was so nice that it was a really sunny day, and you could just tell that all of the spectators were having the best time and enjoying it and soaking it all up, which I'm sure they would, whatever the weather, but it felt nice. And I was like, it's going to be hard either way, whether it's hot or not. I don't think I'm going to find this easy. Um, so it just felt like London at its best, in the sun, in the warmth. You're running through Greenwich at 11 a.m. and people are outside having pints, like just enjoying it so much. And that helps you enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, the first half was just a dream and it felt good. And Ramesh Ranganathan was behind me at one point, and then I bumped into Riley, also from the Scoliosis Support and Research, and we ran together for a bit, which was great. And then you get to Tower Bridge and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then it started to get really hard and painful. But the crowds get even bigger when you cross Tower Bridge, and it's just constant cheering and people shouting my name the whole way round. And then I saw my parents and my brother and my friends. And yeah, so even though the pain just got worse and worse and worse, and it felt so hard, that atmosphere was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're right about the spectators. The downside for the spectator, the upside for you when it's cool, I think is seriously offset for the spectators, because clearly, I mean, there's been some years where it's been raining quite heavily. That it then impacts on the amount of people that are coming out to watch. I mean, how many neutrals are going to come out and watch the marathon if it's pouring down with rain? Not a
Yeah.
lot, which then impacts on your race experience because there's not as many people there watching.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday were probably the biggest crowds there's ever been, because it was just the perfect time to come out and watch that race. And I know it was tough from a runner's perspective, but as you said, for spectators, it was an absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic day to be out.
Yeah, I mean, you could see there were so many people who probably weren't supporting anyone in particular, but they were just like sat outside enjoying the sunshine, having a beer and just absolutely going for it. And that was so much fun and that added so much to it. And yeah, obviously loads of people were there for specific people as well, but just the amount of like support you got from just randomers was the bit that almost was more impressive. Like people who were just there to just support everyone and just be there enjoying the marathon.
It's
And that's like
humanity at its best, isn't it?
yeah, it's the real, like, the best part about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Did you hydrate properly then and take your gels when you wanted to and all this kind of stuff?
I think so. There was no point where I felt that like, oh, I'm really like drained. Um, yeah, I mean, I drank so much water before on the days leading up and had all the like electrolytes and stuff that people were talking about, which I think did really make a difference. And the water at every water station, and when I saw Riley, we was like, Tim's tips. We had that in mind, go to the end, get the water. Um, and they were saying to us at the beginning in the holding pen, like, drink it, drain it, and then drop it. your bottle, but I was just like, I'm going to drink all of it, pour it all over me and drink it and not waste any of that water, because the water was really, really regular and they always had it. And I was, so there was no worry of it running out or anything, but it was hot. So you wanted to take every bit of that. And I'm sure that helped not avoid any dehydration or anything like that.
So talk us through that last mile.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it felt good to know you're on the last mile. And, I think it's also really classic that your watch is a bit ahead because you end up doing extra winding around people and whatever. So my watch was saying it's about 0.5 kilometers ahead of the markers. But at least then I kind of knew, I was like, okay, when I'm at 41.5, I'm actually at 41 or whatever, kilometers that is. And yeah, you're in that last bit and you're going around Parliament Square and the crowds are unreal and everything hurts so much. And the runners, I was starting to like groan and in pain, and the runners around me were like, yeah, you can do this, come on. Everyone's so rooting for each other at that point. It's so good. And actually, my cousin's wife happened to be in the spectators at the end, and she was like, oh, I'll keep an eye out for you, you just never know if you're going to see people. And she saw me and she screamed my name so loudly. I was like, oh my god, we're so close. And every volunteer is like, you've got 400 meters to go, you've got 300 meters to go. And I'm like, just can't believe we're nearly there. And then you turn round Buckingham Palace and I saw the end and I was just started crying, like, oh, we've done it. It's just an unbelievable feeling. Cannot imagine until you're there how good and hard and insane it's going to feel.
So you have done an amazing job with your fundraising. Tell us what you're on at the moment and how on earth you managed to raise so much.
I think it's 2,322 or something. That might be the last time I checked. Yeah, which, because I got in through the ballot. I think I originally set my target at 500 quid. Obviously,
Yeah.
immediately past that, I was like, well, this is ridiculous. Put it up to 1,500. And sort of 2 days before, I was on like £1,400. And then just in the last few days, it really went wild. But I was sort of posting on my Instagram every time I was doing the long runs and posting the link, and was getting a steady stream of like 10, 20 quid from a lot of my friends on Instagram through that. And posting about my own experience with scoliosis and my experience with my dad and running with my dad and all of this stuff. And I'd emailed some people at work, and then just that last few days though, it really picks up. And I think because I had the link on my Instagram and I was then posting loads obviously about the lead up to the marathon, the days coming and all the preparation, all the fear and trepidation. And then I was, because I was getting quite a lot of donations on the days that I did the long runs and I posted the link. But then in that last few days, I was not even posting the link and I was still getting donations because I think people were just finding it in my Instagram. And whatever posted about that was coming up, there was just getting more and more. Yeah, it was really just contacting friends and family and work colleagues and people from my bike club who were like, why aren't you just riding a bike? It's so stupid. But yeah, so really, really overwhelmed by all the support and blown away by how much I managed to raise, to be honest. And it was, amazing feeling.
That's absolutely fantastic. How important do you think the fact that you had scoliosis is, helped you raise that money?
I think probably quite important, at least and I know a lot of people, if you've got a link to it with a family member or something as well, I think that does make a difference. Actually talking to people about my personal experience and sort of the pain that I've experienced over the years and working through that, I think that probably does help quite a lot when you actually explain that part of it. And then, people are sort of a bit more inclined to donate towards you. But yeah, and it's been really nice to get to talk about it because I don't actually talk about it that much as well. So I think maybe that's also part of it, that a lot of people who I'm even quite good friends with don't really even know about it, that I have it or how it affects me. So it's been quite nice to get to explain it a bit more and explain what the charity does and that sort of stuff. And I think that probably did help quite a bit with getting the donations.
Well, it must feel great because you were inspired by your dad, and now you're going to be inspiring future runners with their experiences with scoliosis, and hopefully will inspire them to go on and do great things, because obviously the charity will be sort of showcasing the team of 25 to next year's runners and beyond. So, you're now a source of inspiration for them, which is really good. So in that vein, what are your tips for next year's runners and beyond, starting with the training and race day and with the fundraising?
I mean, with the training, just I would say just stick to a plan. And I would really recommend finding people to run with, whoever that is, friends, family, clubs. I found it really helps motivate you and make it fun as well. And like I mentioned, when you enjoy it, that helps you want to stick to it more. And as long as you do the training, it'll come out on the race day, whatever. I don't know if you want to try and aim for a time or whatever, but you can do it. So just sort of, yeah, that's what I would say in terms of training. In terms of fundraising, yeah, I mean, if you kind of are quite open and honest, I think that helps, like pouring some passion into it and opening up to people. That I think that really helps. People want to hear your story and they want to know about why you're doing it, and getting to a chance to share that is a joy and a pleasure. And what was the other one? Race day.
Yeah.
I mean, like everyone says, just enjoy it, right? And be willing to, I mean, the big thing this year, everyone was like, just be willing to go a bit slower, change plans a little bit based on the weather. And sometimes I can get a bit self-conscious about advertising these sorts of things that I'm doing to friends and family, but you've just really got to shout about it and be like, come along and get people involved and get people down to the pub after, because that makes it so much more special. And they want to share it with you and they want to be part of it and enjoy it with you. So I'm really glad that I didn't let my self-consciousness get in the way of that, and just kind of, yeah, shout about it, boast about it, talk to people about it, because you get out what you put in, right? So you get to enjoy it more when other people can enjoy it with you.
And did you enjoy being part of that, of the charity's team then? Because obviously you were an own place runner who came into a group of predominantly runners with their own charity entry, but you didn't feel any different to those guys, of course, did you? You were part of the team and you've raised a huge amount of money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't really realize. I think there was a point where I realized that everyone was getting tops sent out, and I was like, oh, I want to get a top. And yeah, that was important. I was like, I've got to be wearing the top. I want to rep the charity and feel very much a part of this. And yeah, I mean, I felt so lucky that I bumped into people on the run.
That's
Like,
amazing.
what are the chances? There's literally 60,000 people out there. So that was great because, yeah, obviously before and after, it's just no hope. There's crowds and crowds everywhere. So I'm really glad I did get to see some people, even if it was just in passing for a moment. Reminds you that you're not alone, that you're in it together with a bunch of people who've all been working towards the same goal. So that was lovely. And yeah, it's lovely. It's a great charity and it feels so close to my heart. And I'm really glad that I got to be a part of that and feel very much a part of the team.
So what's next for you then in your running journey?
Well, I'm doing a half Ironman in June. So that will involve doing a half marathon at the end of a swim and then a cycle, which I did plan specifically to be near enough to the marathon that I'll have, like, hopefully still be benefiting from having done the training. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm jumping to do any more marathons after this. And all my friends have been saying, yeah, we'll hold that to you when you sign up for your next one, which I don't know. They seem to think is inevitable, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to take a break after June.
Yeah, I think it's nice to take a break, but not too long of a break, because obviously you can then get into another sort of lifestyle, can't you? It's great to be as fit as you are now, and keep ticking over with some half marathons, because that is a great distance. It's still a real achievement, but it doesn't sort of take as much of your time as
Yeah,
marathon.
I definitely, because I did this half marathon a few years ago and kind of basically lost it all after that. And getting back to a place where you can sort of comfortably do even like a 10K, say, is quite hard. And I think the hard bit is getting back from nothing. But if you just keep it ticking along with just like a park run here and there and the odd 10K, which is super doable. So I hope to do that this time and not completely lose it, because when you can do a marathon, you're like, oh, I can do this. And that's the crazy thing, is when I trained to do a half marathon, I was like, this is so hard. And now I'm like, half marathon, it's nothing. That's perfect distance. So I hope to keep it up.
Great, good stuff. Really appreciate you joining me, and congratulations again, and enjoy the feeling of knowing that you're a marathon runner.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Will here from Scoliosis Support and Research. If you're looking for a great cause to run for, we'd love to have you on board. Drop me a message at fundraising@ssr.org.uk. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.